How did this remain covered up for so long?
Colin, I think this is very simple. Institutions that we believe in, that we put our faith in, we are very reluctant to ever give up on them and acknowledge their flaws. I think if you look at the Catholic Church in Boston, if you look at the issues we're right now having with the police willing to acknowledge, hey, maybe we need to adjust. Penn State football was an institution in Pennsylvania and for that entire area. Joe Paterno was an institution. People are very protective of institutions, and people are very protective of their memories. So many people, Penn State students, Penn State athletes, Penn State football players, their memories are caught up in their fairy tale belief in Joe Paterno, and they just don't want to walk away from it.
Well, I think it's really well said. I also think I've always been concerned when there's a concentration of power in too few hands. And I remember the first time I drove to Penn State to do a radio remote. This must have been 10, 12 years ago. And I remember I lost cell phone coverage. And it was one of the first time, you know, you see those maps of where you can get a cell phone coverage it'll be the first time in my life for 40 minutes I couldn't get cell phone coverage. And I'm thinking, wow, it's really out here. And you had a family and a man that largely ran the university. And in instances where this is the case, there's an unspoken intimidation. And I don't think Joe Pa said, don't say this, but I think there was an understanding that you didn't cross Joe Paterno. And I think what happened was the classic example of the small town, the power broker having too much influence, some of it unspoken influence. And I just cannot believe that for 30 years, a football coach in a tight-knit fraternity and a city without a town without a lot of options, where families hung out together, nobody whispered. You've been in locker rooms. Nobody talked. Nobody said, I have seen something. Not one time. You've been in locker rooms more than I have. It would not come up.
No, I think it did come up. Michael McQuarrie, the former quarterback turned assistant coach, he's quoted in some of these depositions talking about Tom Bradley, and he was told Tom Bradley was told by Greg Schiano. It had to have been gossiped about in some capacity. And listen, I don't want to demonize the people in that area, State College, Pennsylvania, because again, these types of cover-ups, hey, we saw it in Boston with the Catholic Church. These type of cover-ups can go on anywhere. I will just say this, though. People were so protective of their own careers and making sure that their own futures were safe. Just let me do my time here and move on up the ladder. And so you put on those blinders, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. And again, that's not, Greg Schiano has issued a statement saying he was unaware of this. I'm going to try to take him at his word. I'm sure Tom Bradley will perhaps claim the same. I'm going to try to take them at their word.
But it's hard.
It's very hard because, again, Michael McQuarrie was a quarterback on a team. He was an assistant coach. He clearly gossiped about it. Gossip spread.
76, 87, 88, multiple instances of witnesses seeing things. This is not an isolated incident.
It's not an isolated incident, but I will just say I want to add one other thing. It is hard to be a whistleblower. It is really, really hard because the person that stands up and says, hey, look, this is going on, that person's going to be vilified and crucified as well. And so it does not surprise me that this was able to be covered up.
It disappoints you. It doesn't surprise you.
Disappoints the hell out of me that it was able to be covered up this long.